Welcome to LOA Today. Walt Thiessen and Alex King here on this Tuesday, January the 8th, 2019. It's 4 p.m. in New York and 1 p.m. in Los Angeles, 9 p.m. in London, and in Sydney, Australia, it's 8 a.m. Wherever you are in the world, that is. Thank you for joining us either for the live stream or for the recorded podcast of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And it's a happy / sad day because we got word today. It's bittersweet. It is. It truly is. Because we got word today that Carlos is doing so well in terms of moving his career forward that he can't be a co-host on our show anymore. Oh no. It's a sad thing, but it's a great thing.
Yes, it is.
It's like he texted to me last Friday, Alex, when he let me know that he wasn't going to be able to make the Friday afternoon podcast with Linda. He said,
"Wait, so he missed Tuesday and Friday?"
He missed two. Yeah, he's missed 2 Fridays in a row actually. And now,
yikes!
Yeah. So I mean, it was kind of you could kind of tell it was coming. But when he texted me, he said, "This stuff really works."
Yeah. Yes, it does.
It really does. Yeah. He's right though. It's kind of startling when it works because oh my God, it really does work. Look what's happening in my career. It's cool. It's good stuff. So, how you doing? I mean, since last Friday, how's it been going?
Everything's been going great. I am vibrating so high.
Oh.
Life is just great. And I'm mad because Carlos isn't here because I wanted to thank him.
Oh,
really? Because I now have a boyfriend. And
congratulations.
Yes. So 2019 started off right.
With a bang. Just like that.
So it was we met kind of sort of through Carlos in a way because our first podcast together we were talking about what were we talking about? We were talking about dating apps. And Carlos had suggested a dating app that I hadn't tried. So I was like, all right, let me give it a shot. Let me see what's up. So I tried it out, and then I was like, and then I given up. I was like, all right, I've been on all these dating apps for like a year and a half. I'm done. But I'll leave them on my phone, so whatever happens, happens. And then like a week later, this guy named Mike messaged me, and he was like, I like your picture. And we've been talking ever since, and now we're official. And thank you, Carlos.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so great. Like I said, I'm vibrating very high.
Okay, so you have to remind people who are looking at dating apps and still single and not finding the right person, what's the magic dating app?
Hinge.
Hinge.
Okay. Hinge.
That's the winner. All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm really happy for you. That's great.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah. That's exciting. And you did exactly, I don't know if you did it on purpose intentionally, but you did exactly the right thing. You gave up.
I did, yeah. I was like,
that intentional?
Well, I had ran into a dude who wasn't so pleasant. So I was like, I'm done. I'm fed up. I'm over it. And then but I was like, I'll leave the apps on my phone. I'm just not going to be swiping. Looking, so I won't be looking, but if something happens, something pops up, then I will see what happens, and that's what happened.
That is great. Yeah, well, it's reminiscent of my own story. That's why I mentioned
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. I mean, because I've been going through maybe more years of frustration than you did, but quite a bit of frustration. And I literally said, I'm done. I threw in the towel. I didn't even have dating apps to fall back on. The only reason I even connected with Louise is because the person who connected us was a coworker of hers. And
right.
I mean, that was it. There were no dating apps.
Well, technically, Carlos was a coworker, so same story.
This is true. Very, very true. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. Can you tell me anything about him, or tell us anything about him, I should say?
He said I can tell you everything about him except his last name. So, his name is Mike. He lives about an hour away from me, but he doesn't mind the drive, so he's been down here all the time. He spent the weekend with me. He bought me a 55-inch 4K TV. Because he said I needed a bigger TV. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know, right? I was like, okay, I think I'll keep
you. Yeah. Holy cats. Whoa.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I like you. Here's a TV.
Exactly. I was like, you just handed out TVs to all these girls? Like, what's going on?
Well, that's an expensive dating life when you think about it.
Yes, and I'm not an expensive chick, so I was like, I felt uncomfortable accepting the gift, but I'm like, I'm not going to fight you for longer than a week. So after a week, I was like, fine, let's get the TV.
So what's
Yeah.
his interest? What is he like?
He does he's not military. What's the word? He's a Marine vet.
Oh.
He's also a firefighter vet.
Uh-huh.
And he does stocks and cryptocurrency.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so he's a blockchain guy. All right.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but okay.
That's crypto.
Okay.
Like Bitcoin and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Well, I know what Bitcoin is. That's the only thing I know about cryptocurrency is Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from an episode of Grey's Anatomy that I learned about it.
They call it blockchain because it keeps track of all the transactions that occur using that particular coin, and it stores it in. That's one of the ways that they try to maintain a transparency. And there's a whole theory. I won't even try to explain the theory. I'm not sure I even understand the whole theory, to be perfectly
right.
honest.
It sounds complicated. He tried to explain it to me. Yeah.
And
the best.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the best part is that he has Asperger's just like I do.
Oh, you're kidding.
I know, right? I was like, no, stop it. Because I almost didn't want to tell him because I like to dole out my crazy in like little intervals. So I don't tell everything.
So that wasn't part of what you guys shared on Hinge then. You didn't know this about each other.
No, we talked for like maybe 4 or 5 sentences and he was like, I would like to call you. And I was like, okay. So we started talking on the phone for a couple of days and then he asked me why I have a nurse that comes every day. So I said for med management. And he said, what meds are you on? And I gave him a list of my meds. And he said, well, what? And then he started Googling all my meds. So he's like, well, what is this for? And I was like, that's for something I'd rather disclose to you at a later date. And then he finally talked me into telling him. And I was like, I'm on the autism spectrum. He's like, well, what part? Because I have Asperger's. I was like, shut up. So, yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
Right?
Wow. Holy cow.
I know.
To quote Humphrey Bogart, of all the gin houses in all the world.
Right? Seriously.
I mean, that is really crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that gives you something to talk about for sure.
Oh, definitely. We have so much in common. It's insane. Like my mom's saying, he's just like you. Like it's like having another you in the house.
Oh, isn't that nice? That is great.
Mom loves him, so the dogs love him, so it's great.
Excellent. So you guys have been out. Have you done anything, gone out and done like a fun date or something like that?
He took me out he took me and my mother out for
oh my God.
New Year's Eve. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. He took us out for New Year's Eve, and there was a whole situation where I don't remember which episode we talked about this, but we talked about New Year's Eve, about how I had how I have a fear of balloons.
Right.
And we went to this place that had like a balloon arch, like one of those really bad wedding arches. And so the kids were popping the balloons, and in the mall they sound like gunshots because of the echo. So I'm just like freaking out, losing my stuff, and he's just like, he's holding my hand, telling me to calm down, it's okay, and bought me a drink, so it was fine.
That's great. Wow.
But I don't like to people, so we don't do much going out. But he's just as lazy as I am, so he has no problem laying on the couch watching TV with me.
That is fabulous.
Thank you.
That's really, really great.
I know. I'm excited.
You are excited.
I'll keep you and the listeners posted on how it goes.
I'm sure you will. Yeah. But this is great. Yeah. This has been a week full of news. I don't know if you heard last Wednesday on the afternoon podcast with Cindy Chavez, we had an email from a listener, let's see, I'm confusing stories here. No, it's not the email from the listener story. This is where Nasha, who's one of our regular listeners, let us know that Deidre, or Dee Dee, who's also a regular listener, was
Uh-huh.
in the hospital. She
Oh
was
no.
hospitalized and facing some possibility of emergency surgery, and it was going to happen probably in the next 24 hours.
Oh
So she
no.
was asking us for help. Can we in some way help Dee Dee to use the law of attraction to avoid having to do emergency surgery?
Yeah.
Well, Cindy and I have been talking about Neville Goddard books. That's what we usually talk about.
Right.
And one of the things we talked about was literally this idea of creating a vignette, like a little
Yeah.
scene, right? And
Mhm.
so we just, as a group, we created the scene where we were all imagining Dee Dee out of the hospital, back at her computer, interacting with
Yeah.
us, typing comments in and so forth, totally healthy, happy.
Right.
We just did this whole thing as a group. And uh, the whole thing had to happen in terms of attracting the right thing by that Friday.
Yeah.
So this is Wednesday, and by Friday,
Okay.
I get a message from Nasha saying that it had worked, that Dee Dee didn't have to have the surgery. And then,
Yay!
and then a couple days after that, I hear that not only did she not have to have the surgery, but she's out of the hospital.
Yay! Oh, good news all around.
Isn't that great?
That's
So,
fantastic. See,
yeah.
law of attraction works, people.
Oh man, it really does work. It's fabulous how well it works.
Yes.
And it also
It's
works,
crazy.
and I've mentioned this one too, to listeners on earlier podcasts. It
Mm.
sometimes works in ways where we have to say to ourselves, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand it,
Yeah.
but I'm just going to see it in its most positive light and just go with it and not worry,
Yep.
because worry doesn't help at all. And for me, it's what, like I was telling you before the podcast, about 4 or 5 days ago, I started getting inundated with friend requests on Facebook.
Right. Mhm.
Now, like most people, I get, one or two a week or something like that.
Right.
If that. I've been getting, I don't even know what the current count is. Last I counted 2 days ago, I had 500 requests over a 3.5 day period.
Wow.
I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah.
Like I said to you before the podcast, the only thing I can think is I've been putting out there that I want more listeners for the podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe Source Energy kind of got it messed up and said, well, he just wants Facebook friends.
Right.
I'm not quite sure. So I'm now putting out to the universe of it wasn't quite that. What I really want them is to actually be listening to the podcast. I don't need a lot of
Yeah.
Facebook friends. Just
Well,
listen
maybe
to the
they're doing
podcast.
both. Maybe they're listening
Maybe,
and decided to become friends with you.
possibly, yeah.
Mhm.
It actually got to the point where I had to stop answering instant messages though, because
Yeah.
there were so many people. How after they connect, they want to talk to you and so forth.
Right.
I had so many instant message contacts that if I had answered all of them, I would have been on Facebook continuously 24
Yep.
hours over the last 3 days,
Yep.
and I still wouldn't have gotten them all.
I know, right?
I actually had to use this software to make a video to explain to people why it was that I couldn't talk to all of them, so I could post it in the instant messaging.
Yeah. Like, I apologize. I'm not really rude, but
Yeah,
this is the situation. You're not the only one
exactly.
who messaged
Not
me.
the only one. And I still haven't even caught up with all of those yet, but I have
Yeah.
posted to some of them, and a few of them have said things like, "Oh, I really wanted to talk with you." I've had
Yeah.
people who I just friended with who were trying to call me using the Facebook calling feature while I was doing
Wow.
the podcast. I mean, this is just bizarre stuff. You can't make this up.
Wow. Yeah.
So I guess it kind of falls into the category of be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for. Indeed.
And how you wish for it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of it, but it's going to be fun to just see what happens.
Yes.
Maybe it all calms down just because I literally have not been able to respond to any of them in 48 hours.
Yeah.
So maybe the whole thing calms down just because I haven't responded. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll find
I
out.
still feel like I have to respond. I mean, you can't just leave stuff like that. Probably some people do, but I feel like I have
do.
to respond to them. I think it's the right thing to do. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out. But
I always
I'll let people
respond
know
to
what happens.
see what people want because I'm like, I don't know you. What do you need from me?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm going to
Like,
try
I
to do
just,
it without being suspicious. If I can avoid being suspicious, that'll be a good thing. I'll just.
well, for you, it's okay because these are people that are listening to your podcast and that's why they want to be friends
But
with
I
you.
don't know that. but I
Oh,
don't know
that's
that.
true. That's true.
In fact, a lot of them when I included in the video that I made for them the fact that I did a podcast and the
Uh-huh.
reactions told me they didn't know that.
Oh, so where'd you come from?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
How did they all find me? Because I didn't go after
I
them.
know. Oh no.
I don't know either. I don't
Sounds
understand.
suspicious to me.
It's strange stuff, no doubt about it. But
I
I'm
mean,
just
I've
going to
heard of
keep
this weird
on.
stuff like happening on Instagram, but I've never heard of like
Like,
500 friend requests on Facebook.
like what on Instagram? Like what have you heard?
Oh, like Instagram, they have these bots that like to friend you and say, "Oh, we can get you 5,000 followers if you follow
Oh,
us," or
really?
yeah, that type of stuff. So,
And I have seen, not so much in this batch, but I have seen a number of people who were friending who I was able to identify pretty quickly were
yeah.
from fraudulent, pages, fraudulent
Mhm.
identity.
Yeah.
I love the one who was born in Los Angeles,
Mhm.
living in Houston, had
Mhm.
one photo, and their phone number was from somewhere in the Middle East.
Yep, that's suspect.
It's
That's a
like,
catfish, Walt. That's a
come,
catfish.
come on, guys, you could do better than this.
Yeah,
This
right?
is
Make
not
some
hard to
effort.
figure this one out, right? I've had also there were like two or three of them that were definitely fake profiles that contacted
Mhm.
me, making really nice to me, and they were appealing to me as the male by posting profiles that were these skimpily clad female, type photo things.
Uh-huh, that's how to
And
get you.
yeah, so then they tried to talk to me. So I do like a very sparse chat because I can kind of sense where it's going, but I want to see where it's going because I like
Yeah.
turning in profiles. And whenever I see a fake profile,
Yeah.
I love turning it into this. So
I do too.
I wait till it go. And what the three or four of them were doing is they were telling me, let's see, what was the scam? They were telling me that they had just gotten $250,000 from some famous person. I can't think who the famous person was, and they were and they had heard that I had been on the list to get that $250,000 gift as well. Had I
Mhm.
contacted them yet? And I'm saying to
Mhm.
myself, who falls for this?
Right? That's like the Nigerian prince who wants to share his fortune with you.
So report, report, report.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, I love reporting a scam. Ooh, that
Oh,
gets my
they're fun.
finger itchy.
Yes. I'll read a newspaper article or a magazine article online
Yeah.
where they're using Facebook for the comments, right? And
Yeah.
I'll see the scam comments in it. So it's like Mark spam, Mark spam, Mark spam, Mark spam, Mark spam. It's entertaining.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Oh, the
geez.
things that gets us through the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, well, we were supposed to talk about Reddit headlines today. That was something
Yes.
last week I thought was going to be a really cool idea. I have to say, since then I've been monitoring Reddit,
Yeah.
and it's even worse than I thought.
I
It's
tried to warn you.
it's there are some crazy people in this
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Really sick, crazy people
Yep.
posting some really sick, crazy stuff.
Yep.
Um, among the least crazy
The least.
the least crazy, and I mean, some of these I wouldn't even know how to rewrite the headline because that's what we're trying to do, right? Write it into a more
Right.
positive headline. Um, this one, it was funny, but it was crazy. It's a video of a guy who comes into some establishment. I thought at first it was a bank, but when I see the counter, it's not a bank counter.
Uh-huh.
And he has a gun in his hand, and he points it at the girl behind the counter, and then drops the gun, and it slides off the counter onto her side of the floor.
Oh, geez. You had one job, bank robber. You had one job.
And he's freaking out. He starts climbing over the counter, sees the video camera, turns, races out the door.
Oh.
You got to be kidding. So
Oh my God.
Now the headline they put on it was "Clumsy Little Thief." So I'm thinking, okay, so how do I turn this into a positive headline? And the closest I can come to is, well, maybe he learned his lesson.
I would say, lucky little bank teller.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Except it wasn't a bank, though. I'm not sure what kind of establishment it was,
Well,
but
whatever it was.
it's not a bank, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, and that's like among the better one.
Yeah.
Some of them are just, make you scratch your head.
Hmm.
One of them had a kind of interesting question. It says, "What was your I can't believe this is happening right now moment of your life?" And that's something that any person into being a deliberate creator could
Yeah.
identify. So
Yeah.
that seems like a good question. I mean, have
That
you
is
ever
a
had
good
one of those
question.
moments? I can't believe this is happening right now. Have you had one of those or more than one?
Probably my first time on stage.
Oh yeah.
I was like, it was not even on stage. It didn't hit me till after.
Hmm.
And when I got a standing ovation, and it
Oh
was my
nice.
first 5 minutes. So it was like,
Yeah.
I can't believe I just did that, and it happened. Oh my God. Because I couldn't believe how I totally got there by law of attraction. So it's just insane. It was
What
insane.
do you mean? What do you mean you got there by law of attraction?
Well, all my life, people have been telling me, "Oh, you're so funny. You should do stand up." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." Yeah. Because and I plus I love watching stand up. So I was just like, I never thought of actually doing it. And then one day, my mom's friend from high school decided that she was gonna pay my mom a visit, and I was just making jokes the whole time she was there. So she was like, "You're funny. You should come on my show." And I didn't know she was a comedy producer.
Oh, no kidding.
So yeah, so she set me up. She was like, "All right, we're gonna give you 5 minutes. Come with your jokes. Come on this day and be ready." And I was like, I had no idea what I was doing. I just wrote stuff that happened to me that I thought was funny and put it in a relatable way and went on stage and couldn't believe it happened to me.
That's great. This
Yeah.
was like a club or what kind of venue was this?
It was like a restaurant, but it had a stage in it.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. Like dinner theater kind of thing.
Yeah, dinner theater kind of place. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, you're going to get an upper class kind of clientele when you're in that kind of place, so that's good. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
okay. Middle class, middle class, middle class.
Middle class. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like expensive dinner theater. It was just dinner
No,
theater.
it was like the meal came with the show, type
Oh
thing.
yeah.
So
Okay. Okay.
it was
That's
like,
good.
oh, you pay for the ticket, you get a free blooming onion, stuff like that.
Oh, that's funny. I'm trying to think if there have been any incidents like that. The only one that I can think of off the top of my head is the story that I've told a few times. I wrote it in the book that a bunch of us put together and wrote last and published last May. And
Hmm.
I was telling the story earlier today about how Louise and I moved from Virginia to Connecticut and all the crazy stuff that happened in that.
Great
And
story.
yeah, and what was so crazy is that it virtually, not all of it, but most of it happened in about a 2 week span. So
Yeah,
in the middle of that, even though it was a tortuous kind of a thing, like, oh my God, how are we going to get through this?
yeah.
It was one incident after another of, I can't believe that just happened. I can't believe that just happened. I cannot believe that just happened. I can't believe
Yeah,
that just happened either. I mean, it's just one.
yeah.
Oh, it wore us out. It's like I said this morning, when it came to actually writing the story, Louise tried to write it first, and she
Right.
got like 3 paragraphs out, and then she came to me and said, "I can't write this; it's too painful," because it was just
Wow.
going through it all. I had to write most of
Yeah,
it
yeah.
because of it, and it was really painful to go through.
Mhm. Yeah.
You have to kind of do like when you're a comic on stage or whatever. You have to kind of like put a boundary up and say, okay, boundaries in place. Now I can write it with the boundary in place. That way I don't have to
Yes.
relive the experience.
Yes.
'Cause, yeah, it was tough to go through that. But that's kind of what happens
Mhm.
when we're attracting stuff, and if we're not in our highest emotional place and our best
Yep.
feeling place, that's when you get the rockiest road. That's when you
Yes.
get the most bumps. And
Mhm.
this wasn't so much bumps as it was 20-foot waves, but it was
You're over there having a tsunami and,
like,
whatever.
ah! craziest part, I mean, I won't tell the whole story because I did tell part of it this morning, but the craziest part, I think, for me was when the moving truck was there.
Yeah.
Literally the day before, the night before,
Mm-hmm.
I had arranged to sell the car.
Mm-hmm.
To my amazement, because I hadn't been able to get any offers until the very last day, and this guy calls me while I'm driving that car home to say, "Is the car still available?" I said, "Sure, I'll meet you in the house in 15 minutes." He shows
Right.
up, and I was asking 800 for this 12-year-old car. I mean, it had like 235,000 miles on it, so I mean, it wasn't worth a
Wow.
whole lot. And he says, "Yeah, I'd like to come over. I'll bring my trailer with me." I said, "Okay, that sounds good to me." He comes
Yeah.
over. I go in the house because I had just gotten home and went to do a couple of things while he's looking at the car. I come outside. He says, "Did you know that you don't have any oil in the car?" What do you mean? I just drove the darn thing. And
You
I look
almost
and
caught
sure
on
enough,
fire.
it was dry. There was not a drop of oil left in it. It was basically riding on whatever layer of oil was still on the cylinders.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And so now, of course, the value of the car is nearly nil. You know, what do you do
Mm-hmm.
with a car where the engine is blowing through oil like that? So the
Yeah.
guy said, "Well, I can't offer you 800, but I'll offer you 500, which is what I was hoping I would get ultimately."
Right.
$500
Sure.
for a car that just
Sure.
leaks oil all over the place? Yeah, take it. Sure.
Right.
It's okay with me. The next day, the moving van shows up to move us out, right?
Yeah.
And we'd arranged with them to have them tow our other car because we also had a rental car that we were going to drive up. It was a SUV kind of vehicle. And we
Yeah.
were going to load it with the remaining stuff and the cats and drive it up north
Mm-hmm.
along with the moving van. The guy with the moving van shows up and says, "I know that we promised you we would drag your pickup truck behind the truck, but we now know we cannot do that. The company won't let us do it, and I don't think the traffic laws let us do that.
Yeah.
Now we have a pickup truck there, and we have to do something with it. And this is a
Right.
truck that I was hoping to get like $1,200 for it or something like that. It was not
Mm-hmm.
in great shape. It was old. It was in decent shape for an old truck. It had
Mm-hmm.
like 135,000 miles on it or something like that. It was again about a 12-year-old vehicle, so it was nearing the end of its life. Um, but now I can't drive it up there because
Right.
first of all, that would mean that Louise and I would have to take separate vehicles. Louise can't drive long distances. This was like a
Right.
500-mile trip. Anything over 100 miles is more than she can really handle. So there was
Yeah.
really no way for her to drive the other vehicle. Plus, I wasn't 100% sure it was going to make it to New England.
Yeah.
so,
I know, right? Because who
so I'm
knows if there was oil in that truck
what I
either.
need to do, I'm trying to figure it out as I'm talking to the guy. And as I'm talking to him, one of his employees comes up and says, "Would you be interested in selling that pickup truck?"
Yes, universe. Yes.
I mean, this is a clear example of I can't believe this is happening right now.
Yes.
What? And so I said, "Yeah, sure, we'll consider it. What do you want to offer it?" "Well, I'll give you 1,500.
Okay.
"Well, wait, there's more." The guy who wants to buy it doesn't have the cash with him. So he turns to
Yeah.
the owner of the moving company who he works for and says, "Hey, I don't have the cash. Could you loan me the cash?" And the owner says, "Well, I don't think the truck's worth that. I don't think it's worth more than 1,200. Will you take 1,200 for it?"
Still.
"Okay, sure."
Would have taken $1 for it at that point.
Yeah, I mean, where's the nearest junkyard? That was my option. I mean, we had to leave then. There was no time.
Right.
Oh, and that's just
Oh man.
one small segment. But look at how many. I can't believe this is happening. We're
Yep.
happening just in that one little story. It's
Yep.
crazy. So yeah, they can be pretty wild.
Insane. Insane. But
Ugh.
that just goes to prove to you that the law of attraction is real.
Hey, Jeffrey has a question for you. He says, "How do you do comedy when you're not feeling funny?" Whoops. What happened? Did we lose you? I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Sorry, I had
Oh,
a phone call.
oh, there you are.
I try to tell people don't call me between 4 and 5, but nobody listens to me.
Ah,
What
okay.
was the question from Jeffrey?
The question was, how do you do comedy when you're not feeling funny?
Well, that's why you write your jokes ahead of time. You write your jokes when you're feeling funny.
Okay.
And then it kind of, it's kind of fake it till you make it situation.
Mm-hmm.
So you get in your mode and you just get on stage. It's like being a whole different persona. So you just put your mask on and you do your job and you come right off and take your mask off and hopefully have a couple of free drinks that they give you. So that was my job.
Okay. Well, kind of along that line, my question for you would be, when you're on stage and you're doing your comedy,
hmm
are you conscious that you are doing comedy, or are you just doing it? And I asked that because I was a musician. I used to play in rock bands, and
I
when
always
I was
felt
on
like
stage,
I was
I lost track of all that. I just kind of I just have to do the songs. I couldn't focus on anything else. So I was wondering if you had the same experience.
I like to engage with the audience.
Hmm.
So I felt like I was having a conversation with the audience.
Well, that's good.
Like I was telling a story at a party. That's how I always felt.
Hmm. Okay.
And
Yeah,
that's why
that's good.
it was so easy for me.
That probably makes it easier for them to tap into you
hmm
too.
Yes.
I would think.
That's
Because
why I
I
was so
remember.
likable.
So why did you stop?
Agoraphobia.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll do it.
that'll do it.
I mean, you could probably do a comedy routine on a comic who has agoraphobia, but it wouldn't be a real long routine.
Be like, I got 5 minutes and that's it.
Yeah.
Like I would engage with the audience so much. I used to have the audience tell me how much time I had left.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you had
I'll be like, all
timekeepers.
right. Yeah, I'll be like, all right, somebody let me know when I have 30 seconds left.
Very good. I like
Just
that.
yell 30 seconds and I'll be like, all right, thank you.
Very good. I like that. Really good. Oh, and Jeffrey also has another question. Were you ever heckled?
Was I ever heckled? Not on stage. What behind they thought they were doing it behind my back because what happened was I was making a joke. It was a bad night because I decided to drink my free drinks before I went on stage.
Oh,
Learn my lesson there.
yeah, you don't do that.
No, always
Right.
get on stage sober.
Absolutely.
So I wasn't up to par to my usual self. So
Mhm.
I made a joke that I went off script and I made a joke about something I'd heard in the news like 20 minutes before I got on stage. And so it was dry. It was dry. It was a little dry. And then so I get off stage, I go to the bathroom, I'm in the stall, and I can hear these two girls talking about me. They were like, "Why did she make that joke? That was so rude." Da, 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 da. And I was like, "Well, why didn't you just say it to my face while I was on stage then?" And they were like, "What? She's here!"
Oops.
Oh my God! They like had to go back into the stall because they shit their pants.
I wasn't quite done here. Click.
Exactly. Exactly. So that was the only time I was ever heckled, but
Oh,
no.
okay. Okay. Well, Jeffrey wants to assure you that he would watch an agoraphobic comic. So if you
Well,
ever decide to go back,
a lot of comics have mental health issues,
is
so
that right?
it comes with the territory.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. We all have something. Bipolar, manic depressive, what have you.
How would that work for someone who's bipolar? Is that what Robin Williams did? I
Yeah.
mean, because he would just shift from like one mood to another, bang, like that.
Well, that's more like multiple personality disorder.
And he could shift to a lot of them. That's true.
Yeah.
I think they counted he did like 53 of them in Aladdin or something like that in like a 20
Yeah.
second span.
Yeah, I saw that. He was a great. He was a great.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Him and
was
Jim
truly
Carrey.
awesome.
Jim Carrey too.
Yeah, very funny people. Very funny.
Mhm.
But I didn't know
Yeah.
that. It kind of makes sense, I guess, because when you're a comic, you're drawing from your life experience in
Yes.
terms of what you're talking about.
Mhm.
So if you have something like that, that gives you some life experience that you can play off of.
Yeah. If you can make fun of your own trauma,
Mhm.
it just makes it enjoyable.
Yeah, that's true.
It
It's
makes it
not
light for
necessarily,
everybody
yeah,
else. Yeah.
Yeah. We got Shelly laughing. She gave us an LOL, so you're
Thanks,
doing well.
Shelly. I LOL all day, so I understand.
That's good. Yeah, so you're not so much a professional comic. You're just like an everyday comic now. You just
Yeah, pretty
comedianize
much.
all day long. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Now,
I'm always
is
on.
Mike funny? Is Mike funny?
He cracks me up.
So you guys can actually get each other rolling then.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that could be fun.
Yeah.
That could be a lot of fun.
As a matter of fact, he made a joke. We were watching the show called Riverdale, and Luke Perry from 90210 plays plays the father on the father of one of the characters on the show. So
Oh,
all
okay.
of a sudden he comes out of the corner and he's creeping around and he goes, "I see you, 90210. You can't hide from me in that beard, Luke Perry." And I was like dying laughing for like 3 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I woke up in the morning, went downstairs to get breakfast, and I'm still laughing about the whole Luke Perry thing.
It's the joke that keeps on giving, I tell
Yeah.
you. That's great, though. That's great.
He also
Actually,
made another joke, but I'm not going to say it because it's inappropriate. So.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, we
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you.
I will censor myself for this show.
So, some things about new relationships should not be shared, and that's probably one of them. And Jeffrey points out Jim Carrey is a follower of the law of attraction, and that is true.
He is, yes, he is.
He's very big into law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's our peoples.
There are actually quite a few comics who have an interest in it and are aware of it and use it and so forth.
Yep.
I've often wondered, like, what's the percentage? Like, what's the likelihood that a comic who is trying to make it makes it more likely they're going to get there because they are
Of law of attraction. Yeah, I know, right? That's an interesting statistic I'd like to know.
I don't know how you track that one. I guess you have to do
I
like
don't.
a survey.
Yeah, you'd have to do a survey.
We are
Like, have
about
you ever
to.
manifested an audience?
That's right. We are about to take a measurement to find out does this person have the law of attraction gene.
I can't, Walt.
Hey, this is good. If I get a comic laughing, there must be something I'm doing right. I tell you.
You're not doing wrong, I'll tell you that.
Let's see, Jeffrey's got another comment. He says, Jim wrote himself a check for $1 million. Yeah, that's true. Before he was famous.
Yes, that is
He
true.
knew he was going to be able to cash it. Yeah, that's pretty cool that he did that too.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you could easily kind of get, that's one of those positive affirmation type processes you can do that can work for you or they can work against you.
Yes.
It just depends on how you handle it. Like, if you write yourself a check or you have you make a fake bill or something like that,
right,
and you're looking at it every day and you're interacting with it, but you're interacting it from the point of view of I don't have this. You're turning it into a lack prop. But if you're turning it into I actually have this and feeling like you have it, then you're turning it into a positive.
Exactly.
So it can go either way. So that's
how
cool.
I feel. Kind of sort of the same way, but in a negative kind of way about you know how like if you go into a mom and pop store and they have that dollar bill hanging over their register,
right,
like
yes.
the first dollar they made. I was like, I feel like you're promoting that's all you're gonna make. Like that's how I feel that's what you're saying. So I would put like $100 bill up there or something.
make it really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this. There's a famous snowboarder, and I'm not going to be able to remember what her last name is. Her first name is Katie. Can't remember what her last name. She's won like lots of Olympic medals in the women's half pipe. And
I'm not into winter sports. I'm black, so.
But she's from Mount Snow, Vermont, which is why we know about her, because her family owns a restaurant in the town just down the road from the mountain, and my wife used to be many years ago, back in her mid-20s. She was a ski bum. She lived up in Mount Snow. She worked days and then work nights and ski during the day and that kind of thing.
Nice.
And one of the things that she did was work at that restaurant, And at one point, she actually took care of the kids who owned the restaurant. And one of the kids she took care of was this girl who later became the Olympic snowboarder.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so the first time that we saw them on the Olympics, and we saw her win her first gold medal, Louise
Yeah.
gets on the phone to her friend Leona and says, Leona, we were just watching the Olympics. Is that? And that's as far as she got. And Leona says, yes, it's her. That's her.
Wow. 6 degrees of separation.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
anyway, after she won that medal,
Hmm.
what's his name? Famous sportscaster. Can't think what his name is. He's perpetually young. He's 60 years old. He still looks like he's 30. I can't think what his
I
name
don't do
is.
sports because I'm a girl.
Yeah. Well, clearly there are some girls who do sports. I mean, she won
There
gold
are
medal.
girls who do sports. I believe there's a female sportscaster. I forget which sport she does
Bob
though.
Costas. Bob Costas. That's who it was.
Okay.
Bob Costas calls up
Hmm.
this place. It's called TC's. Calls
Hmm.
up TC's to talk to the parents of this girl who just won the gold medal.
Wow.
And he's talking to him on the phone, and you can hear all the patrons in the background. They're all excited because she won the gold medal and so forth. And he
Yeah.
says, on the spur of the moment, he says, I want to buy drinks on the house. Well,
Hmm.
actually, he can't do that. In Vermont, it's actually illegal to do that. So
Really?
yeah, they have some interesting laws up there to prevent excessive drinking. So
Okay.
there's a way they had to get around it. I don't remember what it was. So they said, well, we'll get around it this other way. And
Hmm.
Costa says, no problem. I'll send you a check. Well, he
Hmm.
sent him the check. The check is framed and on the wall in this restaurant.
Nice.
Now that fits in with what it was a good sized check. It was
Exactly.
a 5-figure check. It was pretty serious.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. We need to
That's what
have.
you're talking. Yeah. So they followed your advice.
Yeah, exactly. See? It's like I told you last week. I'm always right.
Hmm. You're always right. Yes. I used to say I was always right, especially when I was wrong, but I like yours better, actually.
No, just I'm always right. Cancel the
You're
rest of
always right.
that.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. So, don't see any questions. We got a lot of people who've been commenting. We don't see any real questions going on. So I'm going to try to go back to the Reddit and see if I can find something worth talking about. Unless you've got any more, I can't believe this is happening right now, stories to tell.
I have one, but it's not about me. It's about a friend of mine.
Well, that's all right. That's
My
all.
my friend Micah, that we went to like elementary school together, grew up together and everything. He is I don't know if you've heard do you watch America's Got Talent?
Only like the occasional YouTube video. I don't watch the program regularly.
Okay, well him and his quartet were on it,
No.
and they almost won. I believe it was, what was it, 4 seasons ago?
Uh-huh.
So now they're back because they're doing America's Got Talent Champions. So now they're back on the show. So when he posted that he was going to be back on the show, because he came in, he was like the runner up
Oh, okay.
so I was like, oh, so close.
Yeah, right.
So they almost won. So now they get a second chance to bring it all home again.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
So I
hey.
feel cool. But they've been doing amazing since they've been off the show. Like they've been touring the world, doing
Nice.
all sorts of concerts. I saw them twice in concert. Amazing show.
What kind of stuff is it that they do?
They do their own. It's contemporary music, but they do their
Okay.
own covers of different songs.
Okay.
Like they did my favorite song, "Carry On My Wayward Son."
Oh
So they
yeah.
did their own version remix of that. So that was interesting. But now they're starting to get into their own original music this year. So that's what's going to happen. So I'm excited for them.
Good
The
luck to
Sons of
them.
Serendip, if you ever want to look them up.
Sons of Serendip. Okay, well you heard it here first.
Yeah.
When they win the next time on America's Got Talent, we'll know why. It
Yes,
was
everybody
successful.
vote because they're from Boston. So everybody vote.
Well, it's more than voting. It's voting with our hearts and our minds.
Yes.
Because that's
Yes.
what we did with Dee Dee, right? So
Yes.
what we want to do is we want to take this as an opportunity to hold them in our minds, so to speak, as being the winners. Imagine them
Yes.
up on stage, and they've just been announced as the winner of the American Got Talent contest for 2019 or whatever it is.
Yep.
And you'll play that scene out because that's the scene that helps make them be the winner.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I just placed my vote energetically.
All right. Well, high
Yeah.
five.
All right. There we go. I think I just hit the microphone. But
Sound effects are key.
They are. Oh, let's see. Shelley says, I'm a bit confused about the title of this podcast. I don't go on Reddit, so maybe that's my confusion. And I can tell you, Shelley, you're better off.
Yeah, you are.
I did it. I went to reddit.com about a week ago and saw some headlines that I thought would be fun to turn into positive headlines. And that's what was the impetus behind this show title. Um,
Hmm.
the idea of it's kind of similar to the idea of if we have something going on in our lives and we're telling the wrong kind of story, we need to
Yep.
practice changing the story around so that we're telling a more positive story.
Yeah,
So
you got to change the narrative.
change the narrative. So let's practice the
Hmm.
skill using stuff on Reddit because Reddit stuff is usually, fairly
Negative.
negative. Well, turns out it's really negative.
Which is what I was telling you before.
You did. You did. It's true. And so I'm kind of very selectively scrolling through and just skipping some stuff and saying, no, we're just not going there.
Nah,
It's not
that's
worth
team
it.
too much. Nah.
But I will go to this one. This one, just because in kind of in honor of the fact that you and Mike have connected with each other and looks like things are going great with you. So I want to turn this headline around to kind of match your narrative because the headline
Okay.
says, is he cheating on you? Enter a live psychic chat now to find out, which is like the worst thing you can do.
First of all, you
Wait
do
a
not want
second.
to go to a psychic to find out if they're cheating.
Well, yeah,
If you think you need a psychic, they're probably cheating.
this is true. Yeah, it's probably not your best investigative technique method.
Yeah, go with your intuition and save yourself 99 cents a minute, okay?
Right, right.
That's just my advice.
No, I agree. I think you're right. I think you're right on with that. But even more than that, if you're going to go to a live psychic at all, why would you want to go for cheating? Why wouldn't
Right,
you want to go for a happy, healthy relationship? That's the way I
right.
read the headline.
Or see what your future beholds or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Give yourself at least a chance for something happy.
See,
You go
I'm
to
more
a psychic. I don't
yeah,
care who the psychic is. You go to a psychic, you say, I'm trying to find out if he's cheating on me. What's the psychic supposed to say?
right. They did an episode about that on Supernatural. There was this really good psychic, and this guy came in to find out if his wife was sleeping with the gardener, and she totally was, but the psychic didn't tell him and her answer was the guy was like, well, why didn't you tell him? And she said, because they don't come to me to know the truth. They come to me to hear good news. So
This is
I would be more interested in seeing a medium than I would be a psychic.
Why is that?
Because I feel like you would get more information from people from the beyond rather than people who can see the future. You know what I mean? Because if you're on the other side, you can see the future anyway.
Well,
So I feel like you're getting
a psychic can connect in any of those ways, including as a medium. Theory.
Nope, they're separate.
Well, there are some psychics.
A medium can be a psychic, but a psychic can't be a medium.
Okay, you're gonna have to. I can't.
A medium can because a medium can speak to the other side. She has the ability to find out things about the future. But a psychic may not have the ability to speak to the dead.
Okay.
See, for you, it's all woo-woo-ish, so you just bottle it up
No,
under
it's more
one
than
bow.
that. It's more like if you can talk, if you can communicate with the other side, what difference does it make whether they were previously alive? You can talk to the other side. Period. End of story.
No, but psychics can't talk to the other side. They just see things that forecome.
But I guess we have different definitions of psychics because every psychic I've ever talked to is able to communicate with the other side.
Okay, then they were mediums.
Not according to them, they weren't. I'm just telling you what they're telling me. I don't make this stuff up.
I'm going to Google it for next week. I'm going to Google it. Because I'm always right. I'm just saying. And I had a psychic tell me that. So
Abraham agrees with you. You always get
Yeah.
it right, and the road goes on forever. I mean, they
Yeah.
say you can't get it wrong, and you'll never get it done. But
Yep.
then again, that also true. That applies to all of us. So we're always right, all of us.
Right. I just like to announce it every 20 minutes.
Yes, right. Well, that's good. That's a show of self-confidence, and I like that. I applaud that.
That's me.
Okay. So still, let's see. Well, Shelley says, not true. I read cards and I can connect with the other side occasionally. Shelley's my Monday evening co-host. So
So is she? Which part is she saying is not true?
That's a good question.
Is she, is she talking to me or you?
Not really sure.
Or is she talking to the other side? And we're just
she
part
followed
of the
up. She said
conversation.
it's energy reading either way, and that is my
Yes.
personal experience. That it's energy reading.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
Okay. I'm not sure that it answers the question, but
It doesn't, but okay.
Shelley, you should probably just come out of the podcast so we can just talk this whole thing out. Maybe we can figure out, where is what are the right definitions, and where's the energy,
Right.
where's the energy not, and all that kind
Right.
of stuff. In the meantime, I'm going to go back to Reddit and see if there's any other interesting advice. Now this one was cute.
Okay.
You don't really need a different headline for this one. The kid of a picture of a baby, probably about 6 months old, with a little what do you call it? The little fish, the little goldfish, chewable
Yes.
things in his ear.
Okay.
And it fit perfectly in his ear. And the headline says, "One of the stranger perfect fits." But it's cute because kids put stuff all over, but you can just see a kid sticking the fish in his ear for safekeeping. It's perfect.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Now, how do you turn that into a positive? I have no idea.
I don't know. I just know that. Have you ever accidentally tasted earwax? Because let me tell you.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't eat it. That wouldn't be so good.
No, do not eat that goldfish, sir.
Right. Maybe the headline is, "Do not try this at home."
Exactly. Yeah, flip that around.
So let's see. What else do we have here? Okay. This is strange.
Uh-huh.
A person wearing a suit in a room full of people in t-shirts is usually the most important person there. A person wearing a t-shirt in a room full of people.
Shelley's here.
Oh, she logged into the.
You logged in. Hi,
Oh.
Shelley. Unmute your thing.
Oh, here we go. I got her unmuted. Hello there.
I have to unmute. Okay, now I'm back.
Yeah, you're unmuted. You're there.
Okay.
So you're going to straighten this out on the psychic energy thing?
Well, no, I mean, I think everybody's entitled to their opinion or their experience with it. But I seriously think it's just all energy. Like, I read tarot cards, but I don't consider myself like a teller of the future.
Uh-huh.
For me, it's more about like reading people's energy and giving them some like insight to what they should do, and then I just throw a bunch of law of attraction stuff in there while I'm doing my readings too. So it's kind of just like a vehicle for me to do all of that and kind of tap into someone's energy. But occasionally I will have experiences with the other side where but I don't really know what to do with it because
I'm the same way.
That's not something that I've like experienced my whole life, because you hear of like mediums, like real mediums that are like, yeah, since I was a kid, I've been seeing people in my room, and I've been, seeing people that weren't supposed to be there, or seeing my grandparents after they died and stuff. And I haven't had that experience, but I've had experiences where I've just felt energy just come and stand beside me, and I'm just like, what do you do? Like, what do you want? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know? And so I've definitely felt it. I just don't know what to do with it. So
I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and at the same time, what?
It sounds like we ironed it out. Okay, we're all on the same page.
Yeah, we're good now. I can go.
don't have to go. You don't have to go.
But thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. I just was like, no, but I don't even consider myself like a psychic. I consider myself like just an energy reader. I've just
Right.
The cards have just been like the way I can do it, and it's really easy for me. And you know, most, like probably 95% of the people I read are just like, wow, you are so on, you know, and
yeah.
So
I think when I think
very
about
cool.
With this is my sister, shortly after my father died, like within days after he died, this is back in 2008, got a message from him, basically had a communication with him, and she definitely does not consider herself to be a medium at all, but she does consider herself to be psychic, and basically got some insight from him about what it's like on the other side, which was kind of cool information because she told us that his message was that on the other side, everything over there is like a festival. It's a festive kind of atmosphere, which sounds pretty good, actually, when you think about it.
Sounds pretty sweet. Not that I'm trying to rush anything, but, you know.
No, me neither, but still. It's nice to know, you know, it's kind of reassuring.
Yeah, it is.
Plus, when your father's just died and three days later you find out that your sister got this message from him and you believe that the message is genuine, that's also reassuring that, yeah, Dad's okay. He's great.
Right,
you know?
right.
It feels good. Yeah. So that's my take on it. But I have never really figured out what the definitions really are, and I guess it doesn't really matter. What really matters is what information are you bringing to the table? Where do you feel it's coming from? Do you think it's telling you? How do you interpret it? That's the important stuff. It doesn't really matter what you label it. I don't think.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. In fact,
I think as long as you're coming from a good place and you're not trying to fake the funk, you know what I mean? Like just trying to scam people out of their money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think as long as, like I said.
I did the phone readings for a while, you know, just like a way to make money doing something I love. It was horrible. It was really horrible. Because people are just like, yeah, and most of it was like what you were talking about earlier about like people wanting to know, you know, is he cheating on me? What time is he going to call me? You know.
Yeah. They want specifics.
Yeah, like things like that, and it's just like I'm not pulling that up. I'm pulling up that you need to get yourself together before you go out looking for another person, or you're just going to keep finding the same situation again, you know?
Right,
like,
right.
And they don't want to hear that. So the psychics that are really good are telling people what they want to hear, and then the little trick that goes in there that you wonder about is like, okay, it's like the placebo effect. Like if they've told them that and then they believe that, then does it happen because of the law of attraction?
Law of attraction, yes.
That's where I would have a little bit of a conscience issue. I wouldn't be able to be that kind of a phone psychic, even if I had that kind of psychic ability, because I wouldn't want to deliver bad news. Because what if I help to create a chain reaction? I don't want to be a part of that. Now, it's not my responsibility. It's the responsibility of the person who is actually living it, because they're the ones who choose what they're focusing on. But I don't even want to contribute to that. So,
I can see that. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is cool. Well, Shelley, thanks for stopping in. You just made this an even more fun podcast. I just wish we had more time to talk, because we're kind of at the end of the hour. But in fact, if you wanted to jump in more often, because I don't know if you caught the beginning, but Carlos has gotten so successful out in Hollywood that he had to drop off.
He's too cool for school now. So
he's too cool. It's crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you feel like dropping in Tuesday afternoon, feel free to drop in on Tuesday afternoon again, because it's going to be Alex and me, and we'll be glad to have you join us.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I'll leave you guys to it. Thanks for letting me pop in, and you guys have a great day.
All right.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And Alex, since we're out of time, we'll have to carry on our conversation on Friday with Tom Wells. So I hope you and Mike have a great few days. I want a full report.
Of course.
Minus the sort of details, just the good
Well,
stuff.
the TV is fantastic, I'll tell you that.
I love it. All right. Excellent. Great. Well, then I will be talking to you then, and hopefully all of our listeners will come back as well. We'll see you next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.